Kia and Hyundai have turned to junk. Hey guys, it's Jason here, Olde Carr Guy. If you haven't been following the channel very long, I'm a used car dealer. We sell a lot of used cars. We've been in business for over 16 years. And some of the biggest sellers for us in recent times have been the Kia and Hyundai products, whether it be full-size SUVs like this one or Kia Fortes, Hyundai Elantras, Sonatas, Optimas, stuff like that, that have been some of the bread and butter of our sales over the last, 8 or 9 years. However, as some of you may or may not know, Kia and Hyundai have been having engine issues. Not just on their 4 cylinders, but come to find out with the recent head gasket issue on this 2014 Kia Sorento, yeah, the V6s have got their problems too. So the purpose of this video is not to bash Kia and Hyundai, but what it is to bring awareness to you guys and, in my opinion, tell you how we think they simply could have done it better. Now, when you're in the car business, you sell all kinds of vehicles, and normally you want to keep in stock and sell the stuff that's popular. And I know that a lot of you guys are saying, oh, he's just a used car dealer. He's going to sell whatever makes him money. Well, you know what, guys? That's what you're in the business to do. You're not in business to break even or lose money. You're in business to make money. Used car dealers get a bad rep. How can you blame me on an issue that starts at the manufacturer? We didn't build the car. And this particular 2014 Kia Sorento is an XX model. It's got all the options, obviously including the V6. And we are in the process of tearing it down. We're actually at the point where heads could go back on. Here are the heads sitting up on the table, all cleaned up and ready to roll. But despite what the title and or thumbnail might say, I don't believe the head gasket is the root problem on these vehicles. And let me show you why. This is a head bolt. And what do you see down here on the end? Well, it looks all shiny. Well, some might say, well, that's only as far as they go into the head. Well, you're right. Out of all this thread, only this much is what goes into the block to hold that head down. That's your first problem. The second problem is, because it's only that much, here's what happens. Yeah, this is aluminum from the block, and these are the threads that hold this bolt into place. If I keep spinning that, this whole thing will come out, and this, in my opinion, guys, is what causes or is the root problem of head gasket issues on these 3.3, 3.5, and 3.8 liter engines. So what I'm going to try and show you is the hole where those bolts go down in. And if you look down in there closer, I'll try and get a close-up, you'll see where the threads start. That's a good almost 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches way down inside the block. Which means, as I showed you, only about that much thread is actually going into the head when it could be a total of probably 3.5 inches for better grip and a better design. Now, I can't remember which one of these is the front bank. It might be this one. No, this is the back one. So we have this one marked with some orange paint. So this bolt and this bolt are those two that we took out. When we initially took this off, we found that all 4 of these center bolts were loose, meaning they came out with very, very little effort. There was no torque left on those bolts. On the front side, there was actually 5 that came out with very little effort. These outside ones here, we had to actually get a strong bar to rip those off. And what is the fix for these? Some people are just throwing in the comments, helicoil. No. Helicoil is a type of thread repair, but not meant for the torque and the pressures of a cylinder head. So for instance, a helicoil might be good if you've got a stripped bolt that holds on maybe your water pump or an alternator bracket or something like that. However, if it's going into a combustion chamber, you do not want to use helicoil. As cheap as they are, there are kits that are available, and I'm going to flash something up on the screen here from Hyundai Solutions. And I reached out to Norm after watching somebody else's video on these vehicles, and he's got the proper kit, which is basically you have to drill the original hole out, insert a threaded piece for the new head bolts to adapt to, and you have to do that for every single hole. There's 16 holes on these things, 16 drilling, 16 tapping, 16 rethreading. It adds a lot of time to this repair. And if doing a head gasket on these vehicles, on any vehicle, isn't bad enough, now we've just added probably an extra half a day drilling out 16 holes, tapping them and putting these inserts in to fix the problem that Kia should have had fixed right out of the gate. And in some of my previous shorts, there were comments down below saying that there should be recalls, TSBs, extended warranties on these vehicles. Well, in the US, that might be the case, but in Canada, I called the dealer on behalf of my customer because not only are they a customer, they are a family friend. So I wanted to make sure that we were doing everything in our power to save them some money. And the Kia dealer said, no, there's no issues. We don't have any problems. There's no TSBs, no extended warranties, no recalls, which I call bullshit. They've got to know that these are an issue. In fact, just last year, we bought a 2016 Kia Sorento at the auction with the V6, and on the way home, the thing started overheating. Long story short, it ended up being a head gasket. We got our money back, we canceled the sale. This was the job they had to do to that thing. I've quoted my customer on this thing just initially for the head gasket, 25 hours plus parts, plus or minus $3,000 to $3,500 Canadian. You add in the cost of the insert kit, which is about $415, $419 American plus shipping, and the extra time needed to make that right. I won't be surprised if this bill is up closer to $5,000. So some of you guys are going to be asking, oh, Jason, well, what can we do about this? Is there any temporary or permanent fix long before we ever start having a head gasket issue? No, there's not, because if you get to the point where you can actually tear a head off this, you're already at the point where you should be getting these looked at and getting that taken and getting those holes tapped out and rethreaded. The biggest thing that you can do is if you suspect you have one of these problems, your antifreeze is going down or you're getting your antifreeze and oil mixed, which is what we found in this one, contact Kia or Hyundai Canada, or if you're in the US, call your dealer. If they say there's no issues, contact Kia USA or Hyundai USA customer service and tell them that you're having an issue. You think it should be something they look at. They may direct you to the dealer, or at the very least, if there's not already an investigation going on, an investigation may lead to a recall. Therefore, if you ever had to pay out of pocket, you might be entitled to get some of that money back. Now, I know there's a lot of manufacturers out there, and we will leave them unnamed, who simply will not look after you if you've made the repair and had to pay out of pocket and it later becomes a recall. Because it wasn't done by an authorized manufacturer's dealer, they will not look after you. Kia and Hyundai has done this in the past. If you guys recall, in the previous generation Sorrentos and Santa Fe's, they had coil spring issues up front. And we had several customers come in with broken coil springs and have to pay to replace them. And the only place that was selling them at the time, and I think it's still the case, is Kia and Hyundai. So you were overpaying this ungodly amount of money for a coil spring from the dealer, something that should have been, you know, 100, 150 bucks for a pair. You were paying 200 bucks each. We have had our customers go back to Kia and Hyundai and get their money back for the repair they paid us to have their struts or their coil springs replaced. And let's talk about the engines, the 4-cylinder engines that consistently have problems. If you are driving anything from, say, 2010 or 11 up till probably 2018, Kia or Hyundai, and it has a 1.8, a 2-liter, or a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, it's not a matter of if you'll have engine issues, it's a matter of when. So if your car is working great today, you've got a few years on it, maybe it's got a few miles on it, over 100,000 K or 160,000 kilometers, might be a good idea to move on. However, if you do get caught in a situation where your 4-cylinder Kia or Hyundai engine has failed you and left you on the side of the road, call your local Kia or Hyundai dealer, let them know what's going on. They will do a diagnostic, and if they determine that it is an engine failure, likely you'll get a brand new engine out of that vehicle. But Jason, my car is out of warranty. It has been for several years. It doesn't matter. I believe, don't quote me on this, that their general rule of thumb is if it's 10 years old or newer or under 200,000 kilometers or 125,000 miles, they'll cover it. And there's been exceptions to that where we've had customers with 230,000 kilometers have their engine replaced. And in fact, we've bought vehicles at the auction that the engines were knocking that we didn't know about, because obviously when they run through the auction, nobody ever says anything. But by the time we got it here, yeah, the engine was knocking. 174,000 kilometers on a 2014. Yep, they covered it. Brand new engine. And you've seen me report that before on my channel. So that is a good thing that Kia and Hyundai is doing, is looking after these customers who have had engine failure. You don't have to be the original purchaser. You don't have to have had all your work done at the dealer for them to approve it, but they do, and they will want to see likely a bill of sale and any service records that you've had of doing your oil changes on your vehicle. Back to the question, should you be buying Kia and Hyundai products today? The short answer is, yeah, I think that if you're buying one today, there's a couple of advantages that you're gonna have. One, the general public is slowly coming around to the fact that these engine issues exist, therefore driving the prices down on the Kia and Hyundai cars from about 2010, 2011, up to about 2018 because of the reputation that they have. So what that means is you'll be able to buy it cheap. We notice these things going through the auction all the time, whether it's got the V6 or the 4-cylinder, it doesn't matter. Kia and Hyundai, they are branded. They are branded. So make sure you keep in mind, start them up, let them run, let them warm up, take them for a drive and listen for that knock. If it's not knocking at idle, bring the idle up to about 2,000 RPM and you should be able to hear that little bit of rattle. I'll insert a clip here. But Jason, I don't want to buy one of these things and all of a sudden find out that, I've got an engine gone bad. Well, again, the benefit is you're gonna buy it cheap and that Kia and Hyundai will likely replace the engine for you. Regardless of the money that you spent, you'll get a brand new motor out of the deal. Likely. Don't take my word for it. But we've never had one declined yet that met that criteria, that I know of anyways. The downfall again is you will be without your vehicle likely for 2 months-ish, depending on how busy the dealer is, depending on how backed up they are, depending on the availability of a new motor. And again, some of you guys are going to go down to the comments, you're going to say, oh, well, they don't put new motors in, they put remanufactured motors in. Either way, remanufactured means it's been completely torn apart and it's been rebuilt to spec. All the parts inside are likely new. So any of those common failure points, which in my opinion is the connecting rod bearings, as well as the main bearings, those bearings were bad. That's what caused most of the issues on these vehicles. Either way, a remanufactured engine or a brand new engine with 0 miles on it is better than the one that came in it. Jason, will you buy any more Kia and Hyundai products to sell to your customers? Short answer is not likely. And the reason for that is because when failures like this happen, although I understand that I didn't build that vehicle, I now have knowledge of common occurrences. So why would I put my customers through that? Yes, I can buy them cheap, and yes, I could sell them cheap, but am I really doing you any favor by doing that? 3, 6, 9 months down the road, a year, when something happens, you're looking to be upset, likely with me, because I sold you a vehicle knowing that they had these issues. So the likelihood of us bringing in any Kia or Hyundai products in the near future are likely slim. Although I do have a 27 Kia Forte 4-cylinder manual on my lot right now, it's marked down. It's marked down cheap. And in fact, if it doesn't sell here fairly quickly, we likely will send it back to the auction knowing full well that other dealers aren't going to pay top dollar for it, knowing the exact same thing that I do. If you are a used car dealer and you have Kia and Hyundai products on your lot, you know about these issues. And if you don't, and you tell your customers that you have no idea, you're probably lying. So at the end of the day, a safe rule for me, don't bring any more in to be selling your customers potential issues. One of the things that we've prided ourselves on here over the years is just that. Don't bring in vehicles with problematic issues. Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrains, yep, we stopped selling those a long time ago when we realized they had engine issues. So in conclusion, Kia and Hyundai, if you're watching my video, which you're probably not because nobody watches my videos, but if you're watching my videos, you know about these issues. If you are going to be issuing a recall, do it. It needs to be done. It is a defect in the way these engines were manufactured. When the recall comes out and a customer contacts you to say, I've had to pay money out of my pocket to fix it, help them out. Help cover some of that expense. I don't know how much is the right amount, probably the whole thing in my opinion, but nevertheless, help them out. But if you don't want to be bothered with the downtime and the inconvenience of not having your vehicle for a couple of months, don't buy Kia and Hyundai products unless you're prepared for that downtime. If you've been watching this channel very long, you'll know that I do videos called Is Blank the Best Used Car? I'm not going to do one on the Kia and Hyundai products. This video should suffice for any model that may be represented under the engine issues that they're having. However, if you want to see more videos on Is Blank the Best Used Car, I'm going to put a playlist up here in the corner. You can go there. We did a Chevy Cruze, we did a Dodge Caravan, Dodge Avenger, Ford Crown Vic, and a Ford Fusion. Those videos do really well and they're very informative. We're getting ready to do one on the Toyota Corolla as well. So make sure you stay tuned to Olde Carr Guy. If you're not subscribed to this channel and you want to find out more, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button because it tells YouTube that this video means something to you and will spread it out to other people who might be interested in finding out the problems that these Kia and Hyundai vehicles have. Also, I do have some merchandise. If you guys want to get your very own Olde Carr Guy t-shirt, there's several different designs. It helps support the channel. It helps me put videos like this together and keep you guys informed so that you're making the proper decisions. Guys, stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you. God bless. Let's do it again in the next video.